Baba says that we children shouldn't have any thought, word, action, or even dream which is not true and accurate. And there are two words in Hindi, yatharth and yukti yukt. Now yatharth means true and meaningful, and then there is yukti yukt, which means accurate. So Baba says that all our actions, whether at the level of thought, word, deed, or even dream, should be meaningful and accurate. And have you seen that in bhakti, every act of the deity is what do they say, darshaniya. So which means that it is worshipped. So language has its own constraints. So in Hindi we have three words, pujan, darshan and kirtan. So when we say the acts of deities are sung, praised, that is gayan and kirtan, and then they are worshipped, so that is pujan, and then there is a darshan. So it's an act that people want to see. They go and stand in queues to just see. And you see that in bhakti, it is just an image, it's an idol, but people go to see its waking up, taking bath, dressing up, having food, having bhog, and then even when the deity is taken on a round, then people want to see that. Then when the deity is put to sleep, they want to see the deity sleep. So Baba says that everything that happens in bhakti is in memory or in reminiscence of the acts that you do now. And Baba today says that because in this confluence age, every act of ours is very pure and worthy of worship. That's why in bhakti, every act is something that people want to see. It is darshaniya. So just ask yourself, is your every act pure and worthy of worship? How do you sleep? Yes. Do you give inspiration by sleeping? So the way you sleep, does it inspire everybody? So does it inspire the souls around you who see you sleep? So do you sleep methodically? And what is the method for sleep? Sleeping according to the timetable. So you see that if you don't observe the timetable right now, then your pujari will also not observe your timetable then. So he will also not pay attention to put you to sleep in the right time in your temple in Dwapar Yuga. So Baba says that you have to pay a lot of attention to doing every act according to the timetable and doing every act in a pure and worthy of worship manner. And I remember, when I came into Gyan, then I asked somebody once that the Badi Didi, the Didi who was my mentor, so I asked the one brother, it was 11 a.m. in the morning, and I said, I wanted to meet Didi, what would she be doing? So he said she must be walking in the garden in the backside. So I said, how can you be so sure? It's just, somebody could be doing something else also. So she could be doing something else. How can you say that, at 11 a.m. sharp, she would be taking a walk in the garden? So he said, no, she would be taking a walk in the garden. So I said, okay, now I don't want to meet her. I want to see whether this is true. So we went to the garden and I saw that she was taking a walk. And then I asked that brother, how can it be so accurate? So she said, so he told me something very interesting. He said, she has a timetable and she does everything according to the timetable. And it is, you can see her wake up at the right time. You can see her on the breakfast table at the right time. You can see her in class, dot 7, she will never be late. So it's, by the second, she's always accurate. And then, so I could only understand the timetable at that time. But later I also understood that it is so important to be in the right state of mind, to be following the accurate timetable. And just think about, getting up at the dot right exact same time every day. How can you be exact in your getting up when you're exact in your sleeping? And not only at the time you sleep, but in the state you sleep. If you are so exact in the state you sleep, only then can you get up at the right time every day. And these examples, have made me have appreciation for these blessings that Baba gives. And Baba tells us that everything you do should be in consonance with the timetable, and everything you do, just like, Baba says that, eminent people in the world, they have a timetable. Yes, and Baba says, you're the most eminent people. Are you not? You are greater than the eminent people in the world today. They are eminent in Kali Yuga. You are eminent in the whole cycle. So what should be our conduct? And it's not like, one day you get up at 3, another day you get up at 7, another third day you get up at 5. That's not how deities should be. Then what will your bhagats do in Dwapar Yuga? They will be confused when to wake this deity up. Or, your Pandit will also sleep one day and wake you up one day, and treat you well one day and not treat you another day. So this is what will happen, because that's just in memory of what you do now. And Baba sometimes gives an example that there are some deities who are bathed with so much care, and their bathing is darshaniya drishya. But there are others, people just take a pipe and they wash them. Why? Because, if we take bath in Baba's remembrance, or if we do every karma in Baba's remembrance, that karma will become a very good inspiration even in bhakti. So Baba says that everything that you do, right from your thought to word to deed, and Baba says that even your words, they should be meaningful. Not like you speak anything and then you say that, I was not in the right frame of mind, or it just came out. No, Baba says that everything we do should be meaningful, essential and accurate. So when it comes to thought also, not that you thought under the influence of some emotion, no. Do you regret your thoughts sometimes? Yes, so there should be no regret in your thoughts. So there was this one Mata, she's in Gyan for the last 10 years, And then she came one day and she said that my husband lost his whole business. And then I said, okay. So I said, it's a scene in drama. It's okay. You have to accept it and move on. Then she said, no, I'm not worried about the loss in the business, or I'm not really here to tell you that, he lost his business, but I'm here to tell you that he lost his business because of me. So I said, why? So she said that he always used to pose obstacles in my purusharth, and I would always create these nasty thoughts about him because I did not like it when he created obstacles in my purusharth. So, simple things like when I went for the murli, so as soon as I would dress up for going for the murli, he would tell me, just make tea for me. And then I would say, I would come back and make tea, or you please make it yourself, I'm getting late. Then he would say, I work all day, and then you are the one just getting up and dressing up and going for the murli or whatever, and I need tea right now. And he would get me late, and then I would, while making that tea, I would create thoughts like, okay, so you are very proud of the business you're doing, and you think that you are somebody because you're working and I'm not working, so I'm a nobody. So I created thoughts about that business also. So she was telling me that when that business was gone, I felt very bad, and I didn't tell him, but I feel like, I have cursed him and his work so much that his business is gone today. And I would tell you that this is not an incident that happens with one person. So, when we feel pressurized, when we feel violated, when we feel disrespected, there are many kinds of thoughts that we create which are not meaningful, which are not purposeful, which are not essential. And Baba says that's not the thought that a Brahmin soul should create, because we are master creators right now. And just like, Baba says that if you create thoughts for a new world, you would manifest a new world. So think about how much power our thoughts have. And then if we use those same thoughts to, create negativity about somebody or something, then that will also manifest. And then would you like it? You wouldn't like it. So Baba says that this is not the act of a Brahmin soul. So every thought, it has to be meaningful and essential. So it's a very simple method, If you just thought that there is a tathastu after your every thought, tathastu means so be it. So if you just knew that every thought you have has a tathastu after it, just check how many thoughts that you take, you would take. So Baba says that pay very good attention to your thoughts. And how can you pay so much attention to your thoughts? If your thoughts are not arising from emotions and sanskars, but if your thoughts are coming from a very stable stage, a knowledgeful stage. Yes, so this is why the formula for being yukti yukt is being yog yukt. So if I am in remembrance of Baba, and have you seen that sometimes you have your yoga with something that happened in the past. So let's say I'm sitting before one person, and then this person said something 3 days back, and right now that person is behaving very well with me, but then I have my yoga with what he did 3 days back. So I start speaking to him rudely, and I'm creating, the not thoughts that are sweet, but where are those thoughts coming from? And maybe, sometimes when you speak like that, that person gets confused. Why is this person coming back at me like this? And then you tell them that, this has its seed in what you did 3 days back, and this and that, and then there's an argument. But you just think about where your thoughts come from. They come from what and who are you holding in your heart. So that is precisely Buddhi Yoga. So what are you holding in your heart? Who are you holding in your heart? So if Baba is in your heart and your Man and Buddhi are with Baba, then you are in a state of knowledge, peace, purity, love, and only then can you create sweet thoughts. And sometimes, and we have this deep sanskar of thinking in reaction. So, most thoughts that we create are thoughts that we create in reaction. But why do we react so much? And do you realize how much we react? Two people are having a conversation which you are not even part of, but you're mentally reacting to it. You are mentally having a commentary about this person being right, that person being absurd, the third person being wrong. Yes, so this thing that we are having thoughts in reaction. You are watching news, you are having thoughts of reaction. You are seeing stuff, you are having thoughts of reaction. You are in a situation and you are not involved directly in the karma that other person is doing, but you are just seeing it and having reactionary thoughts to it. And I think 80% of our thoughts are reactive thoughts. So those that we are creating by just reacting to whatever is happening outside. And Baba says that how can you have a tab on the quality of these thoughts? Only when you stop having Buddhi Yoga with your body. And sometimes you have Buddhi Yoga with your body, and then the body is showing some signs of illness, and then always you have these thoughts about the body going on in your mind, which are neither essential nor meaningful. And most of the time it is like, this shouldn't happen to me, and maybe this will happen, or maybe that will happen, and you are sending negativity to your own body and your own physical health. But why is all this happening? Because there is a tendency to have Buddhi Yoga with the body and the external physical world. Why? Because 63 births we have been doing that. So now Baba says that I have to practice a lot to consider myself being a soul and having Buddhi Yoga always with Baba. And only then can I, have a tab on my thoughts and the quality of my thoughts, because then my thoughts will not emerge as a reaction from what's happening outside, but as a conscious thought that's being created in a very sensible manner, because I have Buddhi Yoga with Baba. So Baba says that let all our actions be yukti yukt and meaningful, and it is only possible when our Buddhi Yoga is with Baba. And when will our Buddhi Yoga be with Baba? So there are 3 words actually. There is Ras Yukt, Yog Yukt and Yukti Yukt. So if you keep the Ras, the secret of the drama, in your awareness, then your Buddhi Yoga will be with Baba. Yes, have you seen that? Let's say, I remember there was this colleague in my office, and that colleague she suddenly, she was very good. She was a very good worker, and she used to work really with all her heart. And then suddenly I saw her neglecting work and not giving her 100%. And then I asked her, why is it that I feel these days you're not taking work seriously? Or is it just me feeling like that, or is it true? So then she said, no, no, you know what? I'll tell you a secret. So I'm up for promotion. So, so I'll be promoted in some time. So the list is coming and I'll be promoted in another 1-2 months. So I'll be leaving this seat and going away. So I'm not interested in this job anymore. So I'll be having a new office and a new condition. So you see, there's a secret that she's holding in her heart, in her awareness. And that secret is changing the way she's behaving. And Baba says that when you hold this secret, that whatever you are seeing with these two eyes is not going to stay. And your aim is to go back with Baba. And you have to go back with Baba with your karmic accumulation and your sanskar. And when you have this secret, this Raz in your buddhi, then you will always pay attention to have Buddhi Yoga with Baba, because that's the only method to improve your karmic condition and your sanskar. And only then can you change your action into meaningful, essential and accurate. So this is why, Gyan is most important. Some people say that I will just change my actions. You cannot. Because without yoga, without being yog-yukt, you cannot be yukti-yukt. And sometimes people say, okay, I'll just have yoga with Baba. You can't have that until and unless this knowledge sits in your buddhi. Who am I? Who do I belong to? What time is it? And where do I have to go? When this sits in your buddhi properly, so you see that somebody who listens to the Murli every day starts getting it, that I am a soul and Baba is my world and this is the final time and my aim is to go back. And the more you listen to Murli every day, this gets hammered into your awareness. Murli is a very good method of hammering this into your awareness. And when this hammers into your awareness, then you start having yoga with Baba, because you understand that in going back, only Baba will help you, nobody else. And now you have to go back and you have to think about how and when do you want to come back. So Baba says that the more you have this Raz in your buddhi, the more you will be yog-yukt and your karma will be accurate. And I always thought, when I came into Gyan, I used to see these sisters, these didis, they were so accurate in their action. And when I saw them, I just used to ask one question, ये लोग सोचते क्या है? What goes on in their head? I was very interested in knowing what goes on in the head of these didis, that they do what they do, because somewhere I understood that it's what goes on in your head that drives your action. And this is why it's very important that we are Raz Yukt, Yog Yukt and Yukti Yukt. And then Baba says even dreams should be accurate. And only when you don't have any emotional upheaval during the day will you have good dreams. If you are watching, hearing this, that, all the stuff that you come across, if you're absorbing it. So let's say, you visit a crowded market, yes, Have you had this experience? You visit a crowded market and you see a lot of stuff and you see a lot of people around, and then you come back and you have very cluttered dreams. Have you had this experience? So this happens when you visit very crowded places full of noise and full of this stuff. So in the beginning, I used to have this experience that when I stayed at home and even in office, I could I could be in office all day and come back and have very peaceful sleep and no dreams, not too much clutter, and it was very good, a good state of sleep. But whenever I visited crowded places, then I had this whole, dreams coming up. And then I started thinking, what's the big deal? I didn't buy anything. I didn't I didn't interact with anybody. And why is all this clutter coming up? Because you see, if you don't anchor your man and buddhi somewhere, then that man and buddhi is absorbing everything from everywhere. And we might not be aware, but it is absorbing everything because it's open ended, right? So it's open. So it's absorbing everything. It's absorbing the vibrations, it's absorbing the sound, it's absorbing the scenes. And although you may not remember it very well, but it's all gone into your subconscious. And then it starts acting out at night. But then what I started doing is, whenever I was in crowded places, I would just pay very good attention to have conscious yoga with Baba. And I anchored my man and buddhi in Baba's remembrance. Or I kept it busy in churning over knowledge. And when I started doing that, then it didn't absorb any of the stuff around. So it's very important that if you want to have accurate dreams and not create pap karma in the dream, because when you wake up after a night full of dreams, then what happens is you also are affected. Your current state of mind is also affected by it. And then they also start working on your conscious mind and create reality. So it's very important to pay attention to these aspects. And then Baba says that in the Murli today, Baba also talks about revealing to the world that Shiv Baba is the sermonizer of Gita, and that it is Sri Krishna who is born out of the Gita. So Sri Krishna learns the Gita from Shiv Baba in Satyug and becomes Sri Krishna. Now, I think in all of this, the most important thing is that picture that we have of Shiv Baba with the 32 qualities. Have you seen that picture? So, with those 32 qualities, that picture is very important, because in that picture it is depicted that Shiv Baba has these attributes. So, it's the incorporeal Supreme Father who has all these 32 qualities and the acts that he does. And nobody else has this mahima or this praise, because nobody else does it. And it is very important to understand that when we say purifier, so no bodily being can be the purifier. Can any bodily being be the purifier? No, because when you take birth through the womb, then you have a set of parents. And then a child is definitely indebted to the parents. And because the child is indebted to the parents, so the child has to take rebirth, to settle the account with the parents. So this is a cycle, and that's why you see that every soul who takes physical birth, birth through the body, birth through the womb, and has parents, has to come into the karmic cycle. And anybody who comes into the cycle of birth and rebirth, they will change from pure to impure. So this is why no bodily being can be the purifier. No bodily being can be the liberator and guide. Why? Because we all come from the soul world and then we forget that soul world. We forget the way home because we all take rebirth. And only the one who comes from the home, who always stays there, that one can liberate us from here and take us there. So these are the things that we have to understand. And in that picture there is this Mahima also, that Shiv Baba is the sermonizer of Gita. And you see, Baba says something very interesting today. Baba says, create plays where you show the actions of Shiv Baba. Yes, the part of Shiv Baba. And if you today conducted a survey about how many people who read the Gita and how many people saw Mahabharata or Ramayana on television, and how many people's knowledge comes from that depiction of the play or the serial, then I think 70% people have never read the scripture. And if you look at it, let's say you have never seen any pictures or never seen any serials or never seen any plays or just read the scripture, right? So if you just read the scripture of Gita, then in the Gita there is no mention of any name. There is just Bhagwanu Vach. It is just said God speaks. And then God speaks to Arjuna, and he speaks in a battlefield, and he is speaking. So if you just read the Gita with this knowledge that God is incorporeal and Arjuna is a soul, so Arjuna is the soul that God is speaking to, and the battlefield is not a physical battlefield, it is a normal world where a battle is going on every second. Yes, so it's a, and if you see what is the setting of the Gita, it's in the battlefield where people are fighting on a property dispute, and that's happening all the time in the world. And then what God is saying is that you have to kill your vices, but it was shown that you have to kill the Kauravas. So Baba says that if you just read the Gita with a spiritual attitude, then if you didn't have an image to it or characters to it which are physical, but you read it like it was the Supreme Soul and the soul and a battlefield of emotions or thoughts or feelings, then you would, I think the Gita would make the same sense that it does to us today. But the thing is that when we see pictures, when we see serials, then these corporeal images, they bombard our imagination. And this is why Baba says that you create plays, create these movies that are being created these days. There's this recent movie, The Light, that has been created in Baba's home. And these movies, these stuff that is being created, this helps us to send out this message that God is actually incorporeal, and the Gita that he is speaking right now is for every Arjun, every soul. And Baba says it's very important to understand that God is speaking the Gita right now, and He's teaching us Raj Yoga through the Gita, and there is an ensuing Mahabharat, and that we must embrace ourselves with the powers that Raj Yoga gives us before the Mahabharat, because this is the message that everybody has, that God comes, speaks the Gita, there's a Mahabharat, but they don't understand that it's happening right now. So it's very important that we send this message to everybody, and when we did that, then they would understand that Shiv Baba is here and this is the time for learning Raj Yoga, and all the importance that they give to the Gita, they would start giving to the direct Bhagwanuvach Murli that Baba is speaking. Okay, Om Shanti.